So are you new to Jesus? Are you new to church? Did you used to go to church back in the day and now you're finding your way back and now you're wondering, how do I look for a church home? Today I'm going to give you the top 5 things I wish I knew when I was looking for a church home. Now these top 5 things won't be in any particular order except for this first one. Make sure the word that you are sitting under is new covenant.
If you don't pay attention to anything else in this video, pay attention to this.
So what do I mean by new covenant? The Bible talks about in Hebrews chapter 8 verse 12 that we are under a new covenant and the old covenant has been made obsolete. The Bible also talks about in Galatians chapter 1 verse 6 talking about the gospel of grace, right? That is the gospel of the new covenant, right? So a lot of churches today teaching what is called an old covenant perspective. What does that mean? They teach as if the resurrection has not happened. And you want to find a church that teaches from the standpoint of the resurrection having already happened and what happened with it. A lot of churches teach from a place where Jesus is over there and Jesus is not on the inside of you, right? So you want to find a church that teaches from the standpoint that Jesus lives on the inside of you. Now, the reason why this is the number one thing is because the word is the most important thing, because the word is going to mature you. The word is going to grow you up. The word is going to keep you accountable. So you want to find a church that teaches the word well. Number 2, is this church overtly religious? Now, what do I mean by overtly religious? Every church has a little bit of religion in them, right? Overtly religious churches make preferences principles. Now, what do I mean by that? They follow old covenant principles that have nothing to do with Gentiles and everything to do with the children of Israel, right? So there are some churches where women are not allowed to wear pants. There's some churches that feel a type of way with whatever makeup you wear. There's some type of churches who don't like jeans and sneakers and nose rings and tattoos, etc., right? Because they're following some old covenant principle that they have not seen the light of day yet on the new covenant way of doing things or the new covenant way of seeing things, and they are staunch in their approach to how they do church. Now, I grew up in an overtly religious church, right? And now I no longer go to an overtly religious church. Some people are comfortable with overtly religious churches because that's how they grew up, right? But for somebody like me, coming up in overt religion and then looking at the Bible and saying, oh, the Bible is not saying that when it says that, I had to get out of that, right? So if that is you, then this point is for you. Find a church home where the church is not overtly religious. You want a church that is lax and does not care about material things or about what you're wearing or about how you're wearing it, right? You want to find a church that loves you, and if you dress a certain type of way and you need to come out of that, they love you into that, but they don't pressure you out of that and throw the Bible at you and look at you a certain type of way. Now, number 3, where is the love? Is the love there, right? Do you feel loved when you walk into this church? Does the church give off an atmosphere or a vibe that makes you feel comfortable, that makes you feel loved, that makes you feel seen, etc.? You want to go to a church where they believe in love, where they teach love, and where they practice love. Because it's a big difference in a church teaching love but not practicing love. So they need to teach, believe, and they need to practice love and how they serve one another. After all, the Bible talks about if we have not love, we have nothing, right? Number 4, now this is a big one. Does the church cater to all ages, or do they specifically cater to and serve a specific age group, right? I came from a church where I was a minority in there, being that I was a 24, 25-year-old, right? And the majority of individuals came in with the pastor, and the pastor started the church when he was in his late 20s, early 30s. So all the individuals that came into that church were there from his lifetime on down and grew up with the pastor. So they were in their 60s and 70s as well, right? So a lot of the programs and a lot of the teachings and a lot of the events were catered around 60 to 70-year-old individuals and were not catered to millennials, right? Catered to the ages of the people whom attend the church. That's the point I'm trying to say. You don't need to cater to just one specific age group. You need to cater to the age group of the church, right? So if the church is primarily a millennial church, you want to make sure that they are catering in terms of events, things to do, etc., for millennials, right? And if you are a 40-year-old or 50-year-old watching this, do they cater to the 40 and 50-year-olds as well as they cater to the 20 and 25-year-olds? Lastly, do you find community there? One thing that I often didn't see at my former church were people to sit with, people to talk to, etc. I often just came for the word and that was it, right? So I was raised in a very word-oriented church where it's about the word, nothing else, right? And nowadays, it's not just about the word. You need love, you need community, you need everything, right? So you don't want to just go to a word oriented church and just sit in church and go home. You want to find a church that has everything, right? Or as close to possible everything, right? So you want to find a church that has community components. What do I mean by community components? Is there a discipleship program going on? Are there groups for you, small groups for you to belong in? Are there people you can connect with? Are there people you can grow with? Men, is there somebody you can go and play basketball with? Women, is there people you can go and get lunch with? All these different things are important when trying to find a church home. You want to find a church home that has a community component. You don't want to just go to church and just sit down and not know anybody. You want to be able to get plugged in and get to know these individuals. So I hope those 5 things help you along the way in finding your church home. And if you found this video valuable and you like this type of content, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe for more content.